Hello and welcome to another episode of Hollywood Knitter. My name is Allison. Excuse me, I'll be your host today. I have a lot to show you. I've been very busy with my knitting, finishing things, getting things done. I had a lot of knitting time the last few weeks since I saw you. I have some trips to talk about, upcoming travels, etc. I'm recording from my home in Los Angeles, California, where we are in a heat wave. It is the typical September heat wave that we get, and it is super hot at my house. It's like 100 degrees. It has been for the last few days. So I've really just been hiding out inside and chilling out and trying to keep cool and coming to record this podcast. This is pretty typical. My cat Apple is coming in. She's probably going to come up with me because I'm talking and therefore she wants to be here. Yep, she's right here. We'll say hi to Apple. Look, there's Apple. Say hi. Say hi to the camera. Look. Anyways, she's probably gonna hang out right here because she loves me a lot. I am her person and she wants to be near me at all times. If she can't be on me, she wants to be looking at me. I've never had a cat like this that is so clingy, but she's adorable. She's very, very good. And it is what it is. And so let's start off with FOs. I have a few next to me. So let's start off with socks. Last time I think I showed you the Ducati socks, and this is a Hazel Knits pattern. I forget where she's from, somewhere in Europe, and she does a different heel construction. And so the first one I did with scraps, and it's here. Let me actually put it on a sock blocker. And I liked it because it was a little different. And the first one I did per the pattern. So it includes a turned heel. It's a shorty, a turned heel, and it actually has a little heel flap, similar to like athletic socks and stuff right now. I did this with scraps, as I said. So this is Invictus Confetti. This is Miss Babs Tart. This is Siren, I think. Just all scraps I had. But as I think I showed you last time, what I like about this is, so this is knit top down, this one is, and it has a little, it's kind of hard to see. There you go. A little gusset increase because I have a high instep. And then it is a double. It is a double short row. So you end up with 3 sections. So this was the first one I did, and really just to kind of try the construction. It was a little different. These ended up being just a little bit too tight for me. I'm probably going to give these away in a charity box probably. But then I did another pair for me. And these are called the, oh, actually, I think I showed you guys this time. So these are the ones I did first. These are the ones that are too small. And so I showed you those last time. And then I did these to continue on. And this one I actually did I do this toe up? I might have. No, I don't think I did. I think I did this one, but I did it with a little bigger instep for me to make sure it would fit, and it does. So that was great. Then I did a third sock, and the third sock is for my boyfriend, and I did this with a self-striping. I'm gonna put it on the sock blocker. I call these my Vancouver socks because I started these when I was on my trip in Vancouver. So these are a little bigger because they're for my boyfriend, and I knit this sock 3 times. To get it right. The first time I did it, it ended up being a little too small for him. So I ripped back and increased a little bit more, changed all the numbers, and then knit it again, and then it ended up being too long. So ripped it back a little bit here and then reknit it, the heel. But overall, I'm pretty pleased. You can see it keeps the pattern. It does, because I didn't really care too much. I do have a little bit here because the heel, because I did this one toe up to see if I could modify the heel instead of doing it top down. Very easy. So you basically start increasing in this little purl until the point where you do the heel, and then you have the yellow wedge, and then the gray white wedge. It's the beginning of the white wedge. And then you go back into the top of the sock and then decrease down here and then go from the top. So overall, I'm really pleased with this heel. I need to wear it, honestly. So I am going to kind of wear my shorties to see if I like this heel. I like it better than the Fish Lips Kiss heel, or at least I think I do. Or some of the other kind of single 2-wedge short row heels. So yeah, the yarn is Fiber Nymph Bounce. Here we go. I got this quite a few years. It's been in my stash. It's intended to be a football colorway, the Steelers, and I got it years ago for my nephew because I thought I would make him socks when he was a Steelers fan, and then he stopped being a Steelers fan. And I've never made him socks because I don't know if he would like socks. So it's been hanging out in my stash, and so I thought I would take it out and instead make it for my boyfriend, because my boyfriend will wear all the socks of any color, any type that I give him. He has a lot of socks in his drawer. He's probably got at least 15 or plus pairs in his drawer right now. I need him to actually wear out a few, or some get a little smaller so that I can put this in. So this will probably go in a box until it's ready to replace a pair of socks, because his drawer is very full, and so I can't put more socks in. So yeah, so I have the 2 socks. I made them tall. He kind of likes them on the taller side, and I wanted to use the yarn. But so I knit the first one, as I said, multiple times. And in fact, the second round of the sock was actually done where I ripped it twice while I was on a second vacation I'll talk about. And then I did that, the second sock, once I got it perfected that first sock and got it done. So yeah, so I have all the socks that I knit. And then, what else will I show next? My big project, the doodles. This is the doodles by Yumiko Alexander, and it is a awesome top. I'm not wearing it because it's hot, even though I could wear this, but I do have some video where I tried it on that I'll put it right here. So the doodles was knit in my friend Janice's Queen City Yarns and her Coleman Light, which is 65% silk, 35% linen, and it's like a light fingering. And what is really cool about this, as you can kind of see, is this pattern, which is super textured. As you can see, it's pretty see-through. And what I like about it is it alternates with holding it double and holding it single. So it creates this great texture, in addition to having eyelets and having kind of these, let's see if I can show one of them, these little gathered areas too. It looks really, really good. And it's a great summer weight pattern. I wasn't sure I was gonna like it, but I do. I really like it. I did have to make modifications a little bit on the sleeves. Basically I knit the sleeve as it is. One, I wasn't sure I was gonna knit sleeves. I thought I was gonna actually do a short sleeve top and like stop and then make it there, but I had extra yarn and I was trying to use more of it up. I used 2.5 skeins, I think. Excuse me as I look at my notes. I used 2.4 skeins to knit this. And so when I got done and I still had, I'd hit the third, but not that much. I wanted to do it. And then it has kind of gathered kind of end. There's multiple ways you can do it, multiple lengths. I made a 44-inch chest, the longest length, and it ended up being about 24 inches in length, which is what I like, or 22. And then it's super light, as I said. It's a great color on me. It's a great color on me. So yeah, I started this because I'd seen an Instagram photo where someone had did it, and I highly recommend checking it out, especially if you're looking for something different for fingering, summer weight top. You definitely have to, it is see-through. You have to wear something under it, like a tank top or a tiny t-shirt or something. But it's a great layer to throw on over. The yarn is scrumptious, silk linen. It will work really well. And she's got great colors. So check out her Coleman. Her Coleman is a great base that she has, and not a lot of people have the kind of the silk linen base. So that was the doodles top. It took me about a month to knit. It was a super fast knit. Once I started doing it, kind of had to follow the chart because it was like section by section by section, but the knitting was a lot of stockinette, with just a few things here and there, a few pearl things, a few eyelet rows. So pretty easy. The construction, which I hadn't done this in a while, was actually 2 pieces. So you do the front and back exactly the same, and then mattress stitch. And I hadn't mattress stitched in a long time. So here's my seam in the inside and then on the outside, and super easy. And I'm really proud of my seam. I'm not sure what that was. My light, my project light went off. Let me pause for a second. Okay, I'm back. Lesson learned for you. Not all little, I have it, this light is a USB, and so I had it in a USB plug, which is one of the generic ones I have, and it must not be powerful enough for the amount of power that's pulling through this. So it heated up too much, and so it went off. Instead, I switched to a different plug. I have, you know, higher end kind of plug-in ones, and I will throw that little travel one. I don't even know where we got it. I just found it out. So that's what happened. Anyways, what I was saying is I'm really proud of my mattress stitch on like the top. You can't even tell. And yeah, it's really great. I hadn't, as I said, I hadn't done the construction like where you're mattress seaming it, but it is kind of nice because it's much more portable to do the smaller pieces and go from there. And it was mattress stitch. I remember it used to be when I first started knitting, more patterns were pieces as opposed to in the round like they are now. And mattress stitch is really easy to do. It just takes some time. You do have to sit there. You do have to pay attention. You do have to kind of thing. So it is a little time consuming that way, but the end result is great. So that was the Doodles by Yumiko Alexander. And what's next? Let's show my big shawl. The Forest Grove shawl that I've been working on since June. And this was intended to be one of my Make 9 projects to get stash out. And I had just gone online and I was wanting to use 2 skeins of this yarn that I had. And the first pattern I picked, it wasn't really feeling it. So when I wanted to start it, I went back and found this other one. And this is the Forest Grove shawl by Mara Catherine Briner. There's not a lot of patterns, but it's a different shape. Look at this. Isn't this cool? So it is kind of what I would call like a long, almost stole shaped with, and then it kind of tapers at the end into kind of a thing, into a tip, into a tip. Construction's interesting. I love an interesting construction. Even if I'm not planning on the project, I'm very much process sometimes over product. But you start, as you can tell, you start and do a circle. And then as you go out, you pick up the sides and do one side that has like a fade into the different colors. And then you pick up and do the other side. All of the edges are knit in I-cord. And then you actually even pick up and do the I-cord at the top. You do have to block this pretty aggressively to get this kind of straight shape. And then I haven't done my final measurements, but based on my wingspan, it's probably about 72 or so inches by probably 24, 25 wide. And it can just go on your shoulders, just perfect. It's more of a shoulder wrap, I would say. You could wear it kind of stoley, but I'm probably more likely to wear it. And I think I'm going to keep it too, as kind of just like next to the couch and have it worn kind of when it's cold, because it covers my shoulders really well. Now, the yarns. This is Invictus Master of My Feet 80/20 and Falling Leaves Confetti that I got in 2017. Sue, who is the dyer for Invictus, comes to the Northern California Knitting Retreat. And so I think I got it one year from her. And I actually used this, if you notice, the socks I showed you, this was the toe, because I had a little bit left and I wanted to use it. Then going into the purple, that is a Miss Babs Tart in Seeds of Glory that I picked up 2020. I don't know where I got that. This kind of great dyed is Dream in Color Smushy, and Cher's Sunrise at Hubbard Lake. And this was interesting, the fact that this was actually 150 grams skein. So that section, one of the notes on a lot of people's projects was that it was more than 100 grams that you needed. And so some people ran out, you know, had to order more. So it was perfect that I had 150 gram skein, because I think I ended up having to use 450 yards. And you notice it fades. There's a fade pattern. And then the last one is Lavender Loon 80/20 and Gigi's Greatest Hits that I picked up on the de-stash table at the Virginia Beach retreat. So these are all things I had in my stash that I put together, because don't we all have a color palette? And I have a color palette. I tend to have a lot of oranges. The purples are different for me, but they all work together. And I love that kind of thing where you can go and shop your stash, which is why I have these Make 9 projects that I force myself at the beginning of the year to identify 9 projects with yarn I have in my stash that I can try to use. And I try to, if you guys remember, I try to focus on yarns that have been in my stash for a long time and try to specifically find projects for them. So, you know, do you find the whole thing with people, do you find the project and then get the yarn, or do you have the yarn and find the project? I do both. I tend to pick up a lot of, like we do, a lot of random skeins. And that's what these kind of projects are, where this was definitely something, you know, I had the yarn and then I was looking for the project, and putting together things in my stash that could go, especially these great fades and things like that. And then, you know, wanting to use them up and do things. And so for me, different construction. I like knitting shawls. I don't wear a ton of shawls. I probably could start wearing more. I actually wear more of my smaller shawls, kind of, you know, scarf size shawls, than I do like these big shawls. I have 3 that I love that I don't want to get rid of, but very rarely do I wear them. But this will be added to that. And then hopefully this winter, I think I'll pull it out. As I said, I'm constantly cold, constantly. And so this will be a great put over my shoulders kind of thing, and the length. And I love the look of it. I love the colors I chose. I love the construction. I love it's different. The tip is, the end is a little different because she actually had it as like a flat thing, and I continued the I-cord. So mine actually flips in, and I have like a little pocket on the end, but I think that will be fine. I did already block this, but I haven't done the final trimming of the edge, the ends. So I got to go do that after this, where I'll just trim all the ends off. I have to do some final project pictures, and then it will be done. And I will put it away until winter, because it is definitely not winter right now. Yeah, so maybe I'll keep it on for a little while until I get too hot. My air conditioner, I put it so it would turn off, but I'm sure it's gonna turn on sometime during this meeting, or during this recording, because it's hot. All right, so that was the other big one I did. Then I had a lot of, actually, I'm not going to wear this. Then I had a lot of travel, and I'll talk about that later. So I wanted to bring more portable projects and also to use some stuff. So I picked some yarn from my stash, trying again to use things up. And the first hat I did is the Confection Hat by Melissa Labar, and I knit this over a quick week. And this is with Queen City Yarns Lotta in tar, I think. And then this was a half ball I had left of Spin Cycle. I did a hat already with this that I really love. That was my Alpine Bloom, and I had half a skein and I wanted to use it. And so I could put this on. Like, it is a little tight for me because, again, color work, and I just made it. I'm actually probably going to, I am going to give it away. It's going to be a charity hat. I'll probably put it in my box. I like to send, or the last few years I've been sending a box to Rainbow in the City, Naders in the Rainbow, something Rainbow. The charity that gives away warm hand knits to people in New York, and now New York City, and now some other things, that LGBTQIA youth. So this will go in there. And I love that because you can send like colorful things and it'll find a new home and it will be warm. And, you know, here's my floats. I always like to see floats. So here's my floats. Pretty good. Pretty happy with it. I actually did this one where I knit it a little differently. I always, because I do mine, magic loop, I always have a problem where, you know, I transition with my, when I use magic loop to do color work. So this time I was kind of looking for a way to kind of combat that, because I typically have that. And what I did is I knit it inside out. And so instead of, so when you switch to the other thing, you basically were pulling the yarn around this way. And that kind of just being on the outside and having to go that little longer made sure that my floats were long enough. So I'm pleased with that method. I think I'll use that for definitely small diameter kind of color work stuff, because it did help my floats in general, just keeping them all pretty even. So yeah, this is the confection hat. Then I had another hat that I had bought yarn for that I had planned to do, and that was the Parkview hat by Tracy Miller of the Grocery Girls. And I had a skein in my stash of Dreamliner Less Traveled Yarn Dreamliner, which is a 70% wool, 20% silk, 10% cashmere, and Slutty Pumpkin, because I love me a pumpkin color, that I picked up one of the Stitches West a few years ago. And then I picked up at Vogue Knitting New York 2 years ago a mohair to go with it from, who is my mohair from? My mohair is from Hue Made Cloud, and it is a mohair silk Homer in the Sea. So the first hat I did is this one, and it's a great little beanie, and this was a medium size, but then for me it was like beanie, and I really wanted it more slouchy. So, and I only used about, I don't know, 25% of the skein to do these, of both skeins to do this hat. So I immediately finished it while I was on my vacation, and I started another one in the large size, and that's this one. So I have two of the same hats. One will be for charity, and then this one is intended to be for me. And it is just a little more slouchy, a little bit more loose. I'm not 100% sure on the mohair yet. I have not really worn anything with mohair, and even like right now, this feels a little itchy, but I haven't had a chance to really wear it. I love the color. I love how the mohair was kind of like a gray with like little shades of kind of blue in it, and then the Slutty Pumpkin was a cream with orange and gray. So totally awesome. And I still have enough of this left for another hat, so I will do one more, probably medium-sized hat, to use it all up and send it off to charity. So the medium one will go in my charity box. This one I will keep for me. Probably the only new hat I add for myself right now planned for this year. I need to go through my hats and maybe actually get rid of some of them, because I love hats. I look great in hats, but I tend to not to wear a ton of hats. The other thing is, when I finished this, although I had enough for another one, I was at my friend's, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, but she had a giant bin of like scraps from her old projects, and I asked if I could go through and maybe pull some more for a different hat, and she said yes. So I pulled a fingering and a mohair to do another hat, intentionally picking colors that I know I don't have in my stash, and to do a hat for my aunt, because she's going on a trip with me very shortly. So this is what I knit, and this is another one in the medium, and another Parkview hat, and I have no idea what the yarns are, but it was a very light blue mohair, and then a blue fingering weight, probably just a sock or something like that. But isn't it beautiful? Totally not my colors, not something I would go for, but I think she'll really like it. And that's the last thing I have. So I have four hats I finished, my giant shawl, my doodles top, and 2 pairs of socks. Not bad. As I said, it's amazing what you can do when you have a lot of knitting time, which I don't always have during the week. Work, exercise, other things that take away from your time. You know, there's only so much time in a day. I try to get like at least a half hour of knitting in the evenings and stuff, but that is not the same as the hours and hours of knitting time I had on my vacations. Now, what do I have? What am I working on? Whips. I'll show you my old whip because it's been dragging. It's been on the needle since June, I think. Yeah, early June. And this is another Make 9 that I wanted to do with scraps. The two scraps I was trying to use are these, the red and the white, that I've had in my stash for a while. And I don't know if you remember, I decided to do the Magical Mycelium socks by Stone Knits. And this is a color work. The mushrooms are adorable. And I did this pretty quick, the cuff. Then I did the first set of mushrooms and then another set, and then it sat. And I was just not picking it up. I was not wanting to. And I'm like, last night I was like, what's going on? This has been 3 months and I've gotten this much done, which is very unlike me. Actually, I had less than that done. Yeah, last night I had that much done. And I took it out and I was looking at it. And again, I was knitting this inside out too. So that helped with my floats. That was my little trick there. But this is 3-color. I tried it on my foot and it was tight. And the way she does her socks, which I don't think I really thought about, it is color work the entire way, including on the foot. And I just wasn't enjoying knitting it. So I was looking at it last night, and what I decided to do is basically finish the chart. So this kind of has a half chart. So basically, instead of continuing, I just finished the mushrooms that were there, and I'm just gonna do the rest of the sock solid. And I think I'll be happier with that. And then I'm definitely gonna have to block these. Like, it's tight getting it on my foot. It does kind of work, but this will have to have a heavy blocking. And it's because you basically have three yarns back there. 3. It's going to be too warm if I were to do it all. And as I said, I'm not enjoying this color work knitting. I think if I had chosen, maybe, she has a lot of great patterns. If you're looking for color work, Stone Knits has a ton. In fact, she just came out with a cool Halloween set with witches and then ghosts. What I think I don't like, or what I figured out I kind of don't like, is the all over pattern over the entire sock. That is just too much color work for me on a sock. It is fiddly, it is, you know, etc. What I think I like is if I just kind of focus on sock just on the upper, and because then you don't have to carry the yarn around the entire thing for very long. And then simpler. This was fiddly. It's so cute. It really is, but it is fiddly. Like her, which one she has out right now looks a lot simpler. She has a lot more that are just like 2-color, more solids. They look simpler. So I think part of why this is sat is because I chose a harder, and it's not that hard, but a harder or more fiddly color work. And I'm not a fingering away color work kind of sock girl. I like the look and I know I'll like the end product, but yeah. So instead I have a huge skein. This is 716 knits, and I do like the contrast color, kind of like this earthy with the red and the white. I'm gonna finish the sock, and I'm doing a normal slip stitch heel pick up. So I'll finish the sock and then I'll come back, I'll do the other one the exact same way, and it won't take me very long once I know that's all I'm doing, and then I'll finish the sock. So that's what I'm gonna do. My plan is to try to finish these in the next 2 weeks. I'm going to work on the sock later, try to get the heel turn, so get it to the easy part. I probably have some upcoming knitting at night and stuff. I think we have another soccer game coming up next week, and some other things that, that having a sock and the easy part of a sock, you know, round and round and round, will work. So, Magical Mycelium socks. I recommend, if you are intrigued by color work, check out her, or Summerlee Knits also has some great color work patterns, and see if it's your thing. I'm glad I tried it. As I said, I probably will try another sock that is not so complicated, maybe a little simpler, but not for a while, because socks for me, I want them to be that mindless knitting, that easy knitting. That's something I don't have to think too much about. Now, my travel project right now is a little different. Again, trying to use all the yarns. So you can kind of see. So that hat with my friend's yarn, these were the 2 yarns. So this was the blue. Actually, no, that's not the blue. That's a different blue I'm using. It's in here. This is the blue. This is the blue, and then this is the thing. And I had enough left, but not enough to do another sock or another hat. based on my measurements. So instead I went, because again, I like to use all the scraps. I do not like to have a lot of scraps. I don't mind having some fingering, but you know, I don't like them living in my house. So I'm always trying to find projects to use every bit of my scraps. And for me, they are in my stash until they are roughly 20 grams or more. They stay in my Ravelry stash. Under 20 grams, I'll say they're all used up. And then I have a kind of a bin in my closet over here that I have like the smaller balls that I use for other things. But so I had more of that left. So I started doing this, and this is the Frida headband by Emily Harris, and it is a free pattern. Pretty easy. Double knitting, so same on both sides. This means it's a lot. It's basically doing the same row twice. And you, at the ends, what you do is you do the two together, twist them, do them, la-da-da, you have a headband kind of thing. I'm doing it with the mohair. The idea is this could be a great, you know, ear warming headband with the mohair. But I didn't have enough of that yarn. I wasn't sure how much it was gonna take. So I knit, measured, and then figured out I wasn't gonna have enough of that yarn to get the full length to twist it. So I went into my stash, and I have a lot of mini skeins that I got through various advents and things like that. None of those live in my stash either. Found one that was sort of a similarish blue, and then I had enough of the mohair. So now I'm doing, so I did the 6 inches of this. I'm doing 8 inches of the other color, and then I'm going to finish with the 6 inches of this. So the color that you see at the headband type will both be the same. And then this kind of blue, which does blend. There is a difference. You can see it, obviously. You can see it there. But not enough that I think it will be on the back side. So yeah, and this will be either a gift or a charity. I don't think I'll make another one because double knitting on size 4s with this hurts my hands. So I can do an inch or two, and then I gotta take a break because it is tight. It makes a great fabric though. I mean, it is a great fabric, this double knitting. Same on both sides, super warm. Yeah, I know that the outcome, the final project will be great, but it will not be something that I think I'm gonna knit again, at least right now. As I said, I got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 inches already. I've got to go to about 20 or 19 or 20. So I'm 2/3 of the way there, and I'm going to finish that off hopefully this week and get it off the needles because I want it done. I want it done. All right, now the last project that I cast on, and I cast this on last weekend, and I'm super excited about it. First of all, it's in my new bag. Fat Squirrel, because I love Fat Squirrel, and my friend Holly was wonderful enough to pick this out from the SSK market that she vended at, and I just love it. It's got a pumpkin on it, and it's a great sweater size, and it just makes me happy. Her bags are so well done, and I love to pick them up every so often. And the sweater I cast on because I was looking for my next sweater pattern, and let's show the yarn first. It is, a lot of people have seen this, the Yin Yang Loop, which is an inverted colorway. So you can pick these up, and they basically have, here's the yarn. They basically have 2 colors. So one is a smaller kind of 1 ply, and then I think the other 2 or 3 plies are the other color. And then she has the inverse of this. So mine is green with white, and so there's a white with a green single ply. So extra fine merino, 220 yards. Says it's worsted, but it's knitting up kind of like a light DK, or light worsted rather. So into DK weight. But I have 6 skeins of this that I got from Stitches West, and I wanted to cast on a very simple, because the yarn is kind of busy, so it's not going to hold a lot of pattern. A very simple kind of sweatshirty kind of pattern. And so I thought I was going to do the flax, and then my friends kind of talked about it, saying, hey, it's too simple. You want a little bit more detail. I don't think I have a picture of the pattern I'm doing, but I'm doing the autumn League Pullover by Alexander Tavel, and it is exactly that. So it is, it has short rows for the back. It comes through. It has a great detail I can show you for like the sweatshirt, kind of that sweatshirt detail, kind of the X that you get on sweatshirts. And I'm already to the body. I've already split for the sleeves, and that's just in less than a week. It is flying for me, flying. Well, it's worsted, that's part of it. And then it just makes me happy to work on it. It's gonna be, I'm gonna pick up the neck and do, I think it's 2x2 rib or 1x1 rib. Again, very simple sleeves and very simple body. Oversized, so I'm doing this with 6 inches or so ease on me, so it will be kind of sweatshirty. And then just the feel of this yarn, it just feels great. So super happy with it. As I said, I cast it on September 2nd, and it is September, what, 8th or 9th right now? And I already have almost 2 balls in. I have 6 balls, so I will actually maybe have to do some yarn management. I don't know how you guys do it, but what I plan on doing is I've just started the body. I will do a whole ball of the body and see where that gets me so that I can get an idea of what 1 ball equals in terms of length for the body. See where that puts me. I want it to be from the underarm about 15 inches, which is about 2 inches longer than she calls for. In general, I always have to add at least 2 inches to the body. A lot of people like the cropped. I'm not a big fan of the cropped, and I have a longer torso. And then I will pick up and do the neck. Then I will do a sleeve, and then I will see how much yarn I have left. Whether I then at that point finish the body or finish the other sleeve, I'm not sure. But yeah, I will make it work. So that is the plan. I'm hoping to finish this by the end of the month, like in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I've almost knit 2 balls. I only have 4 balls left, and it's mindless in the round, stockinette for the most part. So yeah, I should be able to do that. I say that now, but we'll see. I'm hoping to finish. So yeah, that is all of my knitting. 40 minutes in, knitting. But I have had a lot of things happening. So, travel-wise, I went on my trip to Vancouver with my college girlfriends, and that was great. I hadn't ever been to Vancouver. It was beautiful. It was an easy flight from LA, which is nice. And we stayed at this great boutique hotel in the downtown area, very close to the waterfront. And it was beautiful. We got a suite so that we could all stay together and have like a living room area. We kind of like that because a lot of what we do is hang out together because we see each other once a year. So it's catching up, sitting down. What was great about this is, you know, the Olympics were starting. So we watched like the opening ceremonies of the Olympics in Canada. What we all commented on is that Canada's broadcast of the opening ceremonies is not as good as the US. So let's just say that. And then we had a nice dinner. We went out, you know, walking, shopping, that kind of stuff. And yeah, so we were there for 3 nights, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and come back on a Sunday. And while there, I just brought my Vancouver sock and I think a hat I was knitting on. And yeah, so I would definitely go back to Vancouver. It makes me kind of think about maybe like next time Knit City is in Vancouver. It's such a pretty town. And I'd love to go visit. I didn't visit any yarn stores. My friends asked me if I wanted to, and I said I didn't need to. And I don't always need to go to yarn stores on my travels anymore. I have a lot of stash. So we didn't do that, but it was a great trip and lots of knitting time. And then I did, in August, I did a week at my friend's. She hosted us at her house, her beautiful house in the northern neck of Virginia. So there a full week and just had fun hanging out, knitting, going on a boat a few times, going on beautiful walks. She lives in this very rural area, and so I was able to get out and get, you know, 4 to 5 miles most days, and it was just really pretty. I love being out in the rural, and it was wonderful to be hosted. We had great food, great fish, great everything, and I got a lot of knitting time. That's where I did all those hats. I was trying to keep my actual carry-on, you know, I try to travel semi-lightly, so that's why I went with smaller projects and hats and things like that. But it was so much fun. those ladies are awesome to hang out with. And what else? Summer's been happening here, so I have gone to see the LA Philharmonic. They do their summers at the Hollywood Bowl, so we have season tickets, so we've gone to a few of those concerts and seen classical music, which is a great date night. We go on Thursday nights every 2 weeks. So my boyfriend and I go do that. We have dinner there, get to see some great classical music, some great things, and then, come back. Also saw Company, which was the touring show at the local theater. Company is a very old Broadway musical that they've revamped in the last few years to basically do kind of a gender twist on some of the roles and to kind of update it into now. And the production was great. I'm not a big fan of Company. It's basically the twist is talking, the main character used to be like a mid-30s man, and does he need a family? And he talks to all these couple friends of his. They've updated it to a woman and whether she needs to get a family and kids. And the message just kind of fell flat for me. The music is great. The production was great. The acting is great. But the overall kind of thing, I was like, yeah. So, your mileage may vary on Company. But it was great because there are some famous songs from Company that I had never seen it, so I didn't understand the context, and now I do. And so I do like to go see kind of classic Broadway shows that might have some of these songs that, I hear on my Spotify playlist, and so I know it was a song from Company. I just didn't understand the context of it, and so now I do, and I appreciate that. But yeah, I have, I think that was my last one for this season. The new season's coming up. I'm really excited. Some of the upcoming shows we're going to see Wicked. I haven't seen Wicked since the very first touring show, however many years ago. So they're coming back. Kimberly Akimbo, who I think won Best Musical 2 years ago. Shucked, which is another show. That was a fairly new one that we're going to see. So yeah, there's some upcoming ones. I'm really excited. And we do that again on Wednesdays or Thursday nights, where we kind of just go out and see a theater. For me, it's a lot easier to actually go out during the week. It's a little tiring for work the next day, but it's just less hassle for restaurants and parking and the whole 9 yards when you go on kind of these off nights, at least in LA. All right, let me take a mini break. So much talking. TV and movies, lots of TV and movies, but the two that I want to hype on just because they came back, and Slow Horses on Apple TV, if you haven't seen it, is so great. Gary Oldman in it is so great. It is definitely, it's based on a mystery series, so it is gritty. It's in London. It is every 6 episodes, I think, is one of the books. And I just really like it. I love my murder mystery kind of things. And then the other movie that we saw last night, which was very unlike my boyfriend to pick, and he's funny when he said, he's like, I'm only watching this because it's daylight out. And we saw Deliverance, which is a Lee Daniels kind of horror film on Netflix with Glenn Close. I love horror movies. It was well done. It was about a family. I guess it's inspired by true events, which it's about a family, a woman, a single mom, and her 3 kids who move into their house with their mother. They're African American. The grandmother is Caucasian, and Glenn Close is the grandmother, and she just nails it. I grew up in a very, very poor economic status in various parts of the country, and I knew these people, and it was very well done. It felt very real, and Glenn Close was great. This is not a role that you've normally seen her in, and she's Glenn Close, so she's awesome. So I know there's a lot of buzz being talked about, some of the scenes that she has in there and some of her lines. And yeah, so we watched it and it was well done. It was very well done. I think Audra Day or Andra Day is the main mother. And yeah, it is just a real take of how tough it is sometimes to, stay a family, raise kids when you have substance abuse issues and you have other things. And then now you throw in this demon that you moved in and what's doing to your kids and things like that. It was well done. Not for everyone, though. I will say that. I know a lot of people probably wouldn't like it, but if you're a horror film, if you're into different, if you just want to see Glenn Close, I really hope she gets nominated for this role. very unlikely for a Netflix horror film, but she's just really good. Books. I continue my reading. I continue both audiobooks and written books. I think I've done 22 books since I last saw you about, 6 or 8 weeks ago. Continuing my supernatural romance books. Trying to see if there's anything major. A lot of them are my series that I continue reading. I started a new mystery series that is old. Is this my current one? All right, I don't think I wrote it down. Yeah, it was a Margaret Maron, which I guess is a very old series, mystery series. I just read the first one. Bootlegger's Daughter. So that was good, and will add into my mini series that I can go through. Like, I listen to some series primarily on audiobooks, and I don't, my audiobooks are almost always geared for my exercise. So if I have like a bad week, like this past week with the heat, have not been exercising, then I don't listen to my audiobook as much. I keep up on my podcasts and other things, but audiobooks, it's primarily, I can't do too much with my audiobooks, or I'm not paying attention to my audiobooks. Versus I do not mind putting podcasts in my ear and having, my attention come in and out on those. Yeah. As I said, another one I recommend, which I think I've recommended before, is Kelly Armstrong, A Rip Through Time. This is about a modern woman police detective who gets accidentally time traveled back into 18th century Scotland, into the body of a housemaid, and like her kind of mystery and helping her her family that she lives with, who she eventually kind of tells what her situation is, and kind of going through the mysteries of the time. It's very well done. I read book 2 and 2.5, which is like a novella, or listened to them actually. So I really enjoyed that. Garth Nix is a science, kind of a fantasy writer, and I did The Left-Handed Booksellers of London. And it was a great romp. It was set in London, and it was basically that, kind of like a lot of these, that there's like a whole nother level of like supernatural, of all of the different characters, goblins and things like that, that most normal people don't see, but that there's these people who do. And there are these booksellers, and they have powers through something, either left-handed or right-handed. Like the left-handed ones are like the ones who go out and take care of things and whatever, and the right-handed are more the ones who run things. And it was well done, and it's the beginning of a series, so I know there's a second book's already out. I think the third book is going to be published soon, so that was great. Another tip I do, so as I finish these series, obviously I love reading series because I love coming back and revisiting characters that I like. To find new authors of series, I read anthologies. So a lot of current anthologies of like fantasy, paranormal, things like that get put out every so often. And I go in and read there because if I read a short story, and if the character, who tends to be a lot of times a character, like it's a smaller one, it's a character from like a series that they do, and it's like a little novella. And if I enjoy that, then I will go back and investigate that author and then the series and potentially do that. So I read a horror fantasy anthology, and I think added a new author for that. I haven't had a chance to read them yet. And then actually I read 2 anthologies, and so from each anthology I think I found a new author that I've added the beginning books of their series into my wish list, and I just haven't gotten to them yet because you got to make choices. So yeah, that's what's happening on all of my my reading right now. I'm reading Martin Walker, the Bruno Chief of Police. I love this detective. I really do. It is set in the Perrier, in a region of France, and it's very French. But it's all the different characters that come back and the different mysteries, and I love the community, and I love the reader that does it and the voice. So I'm currently reading book 6 right now, and I read 5 and 5.5 over the break. So I'm really enjoying that. I also read Richard Osman's Thursday Murder Club, book 3. And this is based on some retirees in a retiree home start the Thursday Murder Club, where they get together and they take cold case files to see if they can solve them. And it is for 2 women, 2 men, all of them various. One is a former MI5 5 or 6 agent. They never truly say. She's some type of retired agent. One is just a very intelligent gentleman, and then one is like a former labor leader, and then another is just, was a housewife and that kind of thing, and her husband had died. And the interactions with them, and then the 2 local police officers, a detective and an officer, and just it's really well done. And I know that they're about to come out with a movie or a series, I'm not sure which, of which Helen Mirren is going to play the former MI6 agent, and then I saw the other ones. Pierce Brosnan is going to be one of them. Like, it just looks great, and it's very well done. It's very fun to listen to, and I think the 4th book is out, and he's working on more. So, also really well done. What else? Travels. So I'm super excited. I am 3 weeks out from my Morocco trip. I think it is 3 weeks from today. I will be heading to Morocco for 2 weeks, and this is with a tour group that I traveled with, or the same one who put the tour together, that I went to India 5 or 6 years ago now. It was pre-COVID. And I'm going with my brother, and my uncle and my aunt are also joining us. And it is a small group tour of 12 people, and we're 4 of them. And we're going to do so much fun stuff. We're going to lots of places in Morocco: Casablanca, Marrakesh, Fez, the desert, the Dadies Valley? I'm not sure how you say it. Basically, we fly into Casablanca, and from there we travel around different places in vans that we have. And we're going to see the countryside, we're going to see the city, we're going to get to go meet locals and have, dinner in one of their homes. We're going to get to go hiking. We're going to get to go a camel ride across the desert. We're going to get to camp in the desert overnight. We got walking tours of, the various places. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I know it's going to be a great time. And then from there, I fly back to, I'm flying in and out of Boston. So I'm flying to Boston to drop up suitcase with my mom. And then that's where my uncle and my aunt and my brother, and we'll all travel together to Morocco. Then we fly back from Morocco to Boston, where I will stay with my family for 4 or 5 days. And then I will drive to Rhinebeck and then be with some of my knitting friends. We're going to have a house in Rhinebeck, and then I'll fly back. So I'll be gone almost 3.5 weeks. So this is the longest trip I've taken in a very long time. And I'm very excited about it. It's like 3 trips in one. Because it's 3 trips in one, the packing is very interesting, because I'm trying to pack very light for Morocco. Think, single suitcase and a backpack. That's it. Like, carry-on suitcase, very small. Not lots of choices. Laundry halfway through. Potentially some hand washing in some of the rooms and things like that. So I've been trying to figure out that, and wanting the mix and match, and also to recognize where we're going, to be culturally appropriate. So I'm bringing all pants, everything, no cleavage, everything very high. Plus it's going to be a mix of temperatures, and we're going to be out, and I burn. So long sleeve and high necks are great for me anyways. But yeah, so kind of prepping for that, thinking for that, making sure I have all the various travel and sundries that I need. I haven't traveled internationally like this in a long time. So updating some of that, and then making sure it all fits. I actually did a pre pull out yesterday, and pulled out my clothes and kind of figured out when to make sure I had everything I wanted, didn't need to buy anything, and what could mix and match and things like that. So I think I got that down. I think I'm pretty good. I have a few things in my Amazon cart that I want to do. Mainly, I need a new adapter for there, and some other little things that I want to get. Then I have to pack a second suitcase, because I'll be going to Rhinebeck. So I got to bring some sweaters, got to do this. So I'll be traveling heavy for my route to and from, the East Coast. I will be bringing a second suitcase, which I typically don't do. So I will be checking bags and things like that. And so I will have a second suitcase for my family / Rhinebeck trip. That's where my jeans will be, my sweaters, other things like that. So basically 2 wardrobes. And then I come back and don't have anything on the books right now for the rest of the year. I have some thoughts. I might want to do a weekend away over the holidays with my boyfriend. I haven't done a little trip with him in a little while or things like that, but it'll probably be more last minute. And then for next year, things I have on the books are Virginia Beach. I'll be going back at the end of February. I do plan on doing the Northern California Knitting Retreat in April, maybe Knit City, Montreal in May. That's still talking to some friends. There's some interest with some various people, so maybe on that. ZK, Zombie Apocalypse in Rochester in June. Maybe Flock in Seattle. Didn't go to Flock. It looked amazing. Thinking we're going to potentially, the knitting friends are talking about going into Flock and skipping Rhinebeck next year and doing Rhinebeck every other year, which is kind of how I almost end up doing it anyways. And then the big thing that I signed up for as a birthday present to myself is I got into the Joji retreat in Buenos Aires. Super excited. I was going back and forth and I'm going to the Joji retreat. I have 2 spots. The second spot will either be for my boyfriend or for my mom. I was looking at it, and it really, the kind of things being done is less knitting. There is one, workshop with Joji, but a lot of it is more travel things, going and doing wine, doing tango things and things like that. So I think it is being set up for you to bring partners as well as kind of the whole knitting thing. So I haven't decided yet. In fact, I haven't told either one of them about it yet. But it's taking place October 27th through the 31st. My birthday is on the 31st. So this will be my 49th birthday present to myself next year. So super excited. Super excited. I'm definitely going to add a few more days, probably on the after end. I don't want to fly. I don't want to travel on my birthday. So probably be staying in Buenos Aires or somewhere in the area. I'll have to look into it and decide, another few days somewhere else that I could fly from there. It'll really depend on who goes with me, how that plays out, but super excited. Yeah, Joji's annual retreat. Joji's amazing. I have never had a chance to have a workshop with her. I've seen her from afar at Vogue Knitting in New York, but I do watch her podcasts, patterns. I've loved her bags, though I haven't bought any yet. I need to see them in person. Because I need to see a bag in person. I would hate to buy a bag and then not love it. So also really excited that I'll be able to go to the workshop, and I'm sure we're going to have the opportunity to buy stuff there. So yeah, it's just really looking forward to it. Other kind of trips that I need to do on, we're thinking of doing a cruise next year with my mom, Alaska cruise. So that is something I'm going to talk to her when I'm in October, see if we can pin down some dates for that. And I just have some other things that may pan out, but that's kind of what's happening right now for next year. And yeah, it's kind of all I got. That's kind of the update. Work is work. Work is going to miss me for 3.5 weeks. It has slowed down, but stuff is still going. And I was gone that full week, and how do you say, like, things don't happen the same way when you're not there. And there's definitely a lot of things that I don't have support to do while I'm not there. So they kind of will wait. And I was just, it will wait for me. It absolutely will. But I definitely will be working pretty hard the next few weeks to try to make sure everything goes smooth for while I'm gone. And then I know when I come back, I will have a bunch of stuff. We are almost done with construction. The facilities are 95% done, but we have some extra things that we added on at the end that are taking some time, some resources, things like that got to manage and got to do, but it is good. I'm in a slower time, which is why I can take 3.5 weeks off, and I'm not too worried about it. So people ask, how do I have so much time off? I've worked for my job for very long as a civil servant, and we have very generous vacation that you can save up and accrue. And because I've been so busy the last few years, I haven't taken as much vacation. And I also have the ability to bank overtime, which I've also done. So I have quite a bit of time banked up, and that is luckily how I can take so much time off. And I'm also very lucky to be in a position where I'm allowed to take the time off. I'm not critical operations or things like that. I do project management and construction management. Yes, it's important, but it is something that I can take the time off to do. So super excited about that. But I'm very blessed. I have to say, this time off thing was something I thought about 20 years ago, gosh, no, 25 years ago when I started working for the city. You know, this is a job I'll never be wealthy, like super rich in, but I wanted a work-life balance, and that this was part of it, the benefits package. And as you go through, and I'm about to be, you know, 25 years in, which is the max amount of vacation and things like that. I get 3 weeks, 4 weeks off every year, something like that. And then again to the banking of it. So, and then I get holidays and other things, and it's good. Retirement for me is going to be at 55. So I also have retirement within my iShot. I'll have been working for them for 32 years at that point. And because I went pretty quickly right outside of school, and I'm planning all of my thing to basically go as soon as I can, which is 55. And then I'm going to be a traveling fool for at least 5 years, and then, you know, slow down. But it is, you know, I can count down on my fingers how many years I have left. And in the meantime, I will have there's some exciting upcoming projects that I potentially will be on that could fill up my time for the next few years. So once those materialize, I'll share a little bit about what those are, but there's at least 2 very big projects on the horizon that I potentially could be working on that are both pretty exciting. That would both be exciting for me to work on. Oh, acquisitions. I actually have some acquisitions before I run away. Show them really quickly. I got the advent calendar from Mullins and Nosh. I haven't opened it. I am going to save it for Advent, and but I saw some people from last year got it. I got the Targhee fingering, so the striping skein, and then this is the mini skein. The mini skein is out, and I don't know if you guys have, a lot of people have seen this, and a lot of people out, but there are 2 self-striping balls here, and you pull out so you don't see what the next color is, and I like that. And then you use the contrast color. So I'm gonna be very good and not look. Put this away until December. We'll be here before we know it. And then the other acquisition was my wonderful friend Martha, who hosted us. Got this awesome tote bag. This is the Northern Neck. Where's her house? This is where her house is, over here. And we went all over and visited We visited other friends who live in the area. Lots of people I've met from Virginia Beach and various retreats and Rhinebeck. And it was just really fun to be out there. And she does have a great knitting community, and a lot of people I know at various events live over there. And it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place to visit. Little too remote for me. Long term is what I decided. It's super beautiful, and I can see a lot for it. But I definitely am a little bit of a city girl at heart. Not even apologetic about that. I love going out into the country. I love being there, but I also have a distance of how far I can be from, you know, city. But yeah, it was still a wonderful trip. I've just had a great few weeks. I think it's June since I last talked to you. And I'm going to have a very exciting next few weeks. So I definitely will not be back until probably November, by the time I get, you know, everything done. My trips, I'm gone, as I said, that 3.5 weeks, and then coming back, getting in the groove. Then my birthday hits. I will be turning 48, and I don't have any major plans for my birthday right now. That's something that we may or may not do. I'll do whatever I want for my birthday, but I want to see how I feel when I come back, what we do, and then it'll be November. So that will probably be when you see me, hopefully with a lot of knitting acquisitions. One of the big things I have to think about is, what do I bring on my trip? Definitely for Morocco, it has to be small. As I said, we're trying to pack light. So I'm thinking a pair of socks or 2 and a fingering weight short sleeve t-shirt that I have in my stash. I have 2. Something that I'll have a lot of time, because there is a fair amount of driving time in the van. Like, you know, 3 hours one day, 6 hours another day to get to these more remote areas in Morocco. So I will have a lot of knitting time, but I'll also have a lot of audiobook time. I'll have a lot of, you know, other time and hanging out and things like that. So I'm gonna err. We'll see. It's really easy to throw an extra sock skein wound up and hopefully squeeze it somewhere. Hopefully. Maybe my brother will have room in his suitcase. He's gonna pack lighter. He's a guy. Maybe. Anyways, that's my big thing that I'm going to do next. And then I have to have different knitting for Rhinebeck. So that will be in the second suitcase. So I should have quite a few whips going, and making sure I have enough knitting for all the things that are happening. And I will come back with pictures and tales and tell you about my adventures and upcoming adventures. In the meantime, I hope everyone has a great September. All the kids are back in school in the US. All my nieces are back in school, and I've seen some pictures of their first day and they all look very happy. I'm sure a lot of other people are back into that normal routine that you come out of after the summer. We still have summer weather. Hopefully it will turn to fall weather soon. I'm looking forward to going back to Rhode Island for October, because that is hopefully will be prime leaf peeping. I love fall. It is my favorite time of the year. I almost always try to visit my family during that time because I just love New England in the fall. It is beautiful. So I'm really excited to be able to see them and Rhinebeck and go get some of that tasting and just, you know, wear some of these sweaters I've been knitting. Yeah. So that's it. I think that's enough. I'm over an hour. So thank you for getting through all this. Hopefully saying hi to all my friends that I've seen recently. And hello to those I will see coming up at Rhinebeck. And well, it's like 6 weeks, but it feels like it's going to be tomorrow for me. Anyways, you can find me as Allison1031 on Instagram or Ravelry, of which I'm not very active on either. I love to surf Instagram, but I don't post. I might post a dump. Every so often I do a dump. And then that's a wrap from Hollywood, where fantasy meets Viper and dreams are knit. Bye, everybody.